Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, the podcast where we bring you the latest news and updates from around the world. I'm your host, Barbara, and I'm glad you're joining us today. We're starting off with a developing story in the Middle East, where tensions continue to rise between Israel and Hamas. The conflict in Gaza has been ongoing for months, with both sides suffering significant losses. Recently, there have been renewed efforts to broker a ceasefire, with U.S. President Donald Trump weighing in on the situation. According to reports, President Trump has expressed optimism that a deal can be reached within the next week, saying we're working on Gaza and trying to get it taken care of. He also took to social media to call for an end to the conflict, writing, "Make the deal in Gaza. Get the hostages back." The president's comments come as Israeli Minister for Strategic Affairs, Ron Dermer, is set to travel to Washington for talks on a potential ceasefire. However, the path to a peaceful resolution remains complex, with significant sticking points between Israel and Hamas. One major issue is the fate of the hostages taken by Hamas during the October 7, 2023 attacks, in which over 1,000 people were killed. Hamas has offered to release the remaining hostages in exchange for a full withdrawal of Israeli troops and an end to the war. But Israel has rejected this proposal, insisting that Hamas must disarm and go into exile before any ceasefire can be agreed upon. The humanitarian situation on the ground is dire, with over 56,000 people killed and many more displaced. The international community is calling for a peaceful resolution to the conflict, but so far, a lasting agreement has proven elusive. We'll continue to monitor this developing story and bring you updates as more information becomes available. In the meantime, we want to hear from you. What do you think is the key to resolving the conflict in Gaza? Share your thoughts with us on social media using the hashtag #Barbara'sBulletin. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're halfway through our show, and I'm excited to dive into our next story. Today, we're taking a closer look at a complex issue that's been unfolding in Taiwan. The Taiwanese government has set a deadline of June 30 for Chinese immigrants to renounce their household registration in China, sparking controversy and debate among locals and immigrants alike. To break it down, the policy requires Chinese immigrants to give up their household registration in China, which is essentially a document that proves one's residency and citizenship. The move is aimed at reducing the risk of espionage and other security threats from China. However, many are questioning the fairness and effectiveness of this approach. On one hand, proponents of the policy argue that it's necessary to protect Taiwan's national security, particularly in light of recent high-profile espionage cases. They claim that by requiring Chinese immigrants to renounce their household registration, Taiwan can better identify potential security risks and prevent them from infiltrating the country. On the other hand, critics argue that this policy unfairly targets Chinese immigrants, many of whom have lived in Taiwan for decades and have made significant contributions to the country. They point out that the policy lacks transparency and could lead to deportations, which would be devastating for those affected. It's also worth noting that Taiwan's opposition parties have spoken out against the policy, calling it unconstitutional and illegal. Some lawmakers have even accused the government of using this issue to stoke tensions with China and distract from other pressing domestic issues. As we explore this story, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and avoid taking a biased stance. The situation is complex, and there are no easy answers. It's crucial for the Taiwanese government to strike a balance between national security concerns and the rights of Chinese immigrants who have made Taiwan their home. The deadline is looming, and many are watching with bated breath to see how this situation will unfold. Will the government stand firm on its policy, or will it consider revising or repealing it? Only time will tell. For now, we'll continue to monitor the developments and provide you with updates as more information becomes available. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're closing out today's show with a critical look at the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. As we've been following this story for some time now, it's essential to acknowledge the escalating tensions and humanitarian concerns. According to recent reports, fresh Russian strikes have targeted Ukrainian regions, resulting in at least 12 people wounded. This comes after a series of attacks on various cities, including Odessa, which saw 2 people killed and 14 injured. The situation remains dire, with both sides suffering losses and the civilian population bearing the brunt of the conflict. In a significant development, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has signed a decree withdrawing his country from the anti-landmine treaty. This move is seen as a response to Russia's use of landmines in Ukraine, which has posed a significant threat to both military personnel and civilians. While this decision may be viewed as necessary by some, it's crucial to consider the potential long-term implications and the impact on international humanitarian law. It's also worth noting that several countries, including Poland, Finland, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, have made similar decisions to withdraw from the treaty, citing concerns about Russian aggression. As the situation continues to unfold, it's essential to monitor the responses of the international community and the potential consequences for global security. As we conclude this segment, I want to emphasize the importance of staying informed and engaged on this critical issue. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine has far-reaching implications, and it's crucial that we approach the topic with empathy, understanding, and a commitment to fairness and balance. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay engaged.